Welcome to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder of Meldon Law and host today for Meldon Law and Friends. We're very excited. We've got a really interesting show today, and I know all of you will be excited to listen to what our guests have to say. Our big giveaway coming up, we have a Father's Day giveaway. So Father's Day is June 19th. And our giveaway is a $250 gift card to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Plus, Steve Spurrier will sign a visor to Dad. So whoever, whatever you want him to write on the visor, that comes with the package. I think it's going to be pretty cool. We're broadcasting now from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill here in Celebration Point in Gainesville, Florida. And it's a beautiful museum and fabulous restaurant. So it's for those of you that bleed orange and blue, this is the place for you. And those of you that don't bleed orange and blue but like good food, you're welcome.
That's right.
Also. So, you know, this is the place for you as well. So anyhow, we're big fans of Spurrier Gridiron Grill, and everybody that comes out here has a really cool time. We're in the podcast room here that was built. It actually substitutes as a dining room for VIPs. And this weekend was birthday weekend for Josh Howard, who is my personal executive assistant at Meldon Law. And Josh brought his folks and his girlfriend over here, and they got to sit in this private VIP pod room for his birthday. So
Yeah,
that was.
you can see a lot of people too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're like in a fishbowl here.
Yeah, we really
okay?
are. I was going to say that.
Yeah. So anyhow, my first guest today is Edward Lavagnino.
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 Italiano, yes.
Lavagnino.
Lavagnino.
Okay, and I was telling Edward that I just came back from Rome and Florence about 2 weeks ago and just had a great time.
Yeah.
What an amazing time we had, and just to be inspired by what
The beauty.
And you know what? It's amazing is people built these incredible cathedrals 800 years ago.
Yep.
And we think that, 50 years ago is like a long time ago. How did people, put that together? Now, when it comes to what you do,
Yes.
that was non-existent 50 years ago, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Even 11 years ago. Correct.
Yeah, 11 years.
There were no apps 11 years ago.
So let's talk about, Edward, tell us a little bit about your company and what
Sure.
you do.
So my company is called Gift Certificates and More. I started it back in 2011, and it was a website, and we had the shortest domain, giftcertificatesandmore.com. So you can imagine how long it was. So people had to go down to the app itself and print a gift certificate, not a coupon. The difference is none of my offers have a minimum purchase. My offers are all gift certificates. Now, my gift certificates are smaller. They're not $50 or $25 because then the restaurant will go out of business. My gift certificates are $5 off, $3, $2. So wherever you go, we work over 100 different restaurants. You can save $3, $2, one redemption per month. But if you go out to eat 2 or 3 times a week or 2 or 3 times a month, depending how much of a foodie you are, you can start saving $5, $10, $15, $20 per month. And if you do that for a year, you save, a couple $100. So that's the angle that we do. So the idea is simple.
So as I understand it,
Yeah.
if you go to, you can use one of these gift certificates at a different, as long as you're going to a different restaurant, you can
Right.
use
One
them.
redemption per location per person per month.
Oh, so if you eat out 15, 20 times
Oh,
per
yeah.
month, you might be saving $50 to $100.
Oh, yeah. I know people that save $500, $600 a year. Yeah. And then we also have GCM Plus. You pay $1 a month or $10 a year for the Plus membership, and then you can redeem it twice. So let's say you want to go to the Texas Roadhouse. It's a $3 gift certificate. And again, there's no minimum purchase, whatever you purchase. So we don't tell you you have to buy this burger or you have to spend $25 to get $5 off. It's like having money in your wallet. That's what we call it. It's like money. That's our slogan. So when you go to the Texas Roadhouse, you redeem, you save $3. And then you go to the Ale House, you redeem, you save $3. You go to Dave & Buster's, you redeem, you save $5. And I'm staying within CP. Then if you go to Kilwins, you save $2. And then you go to Medici, you save $3. So you feel me? So you start saving a lot of money where you go. And if you're a Plus member, you can do it all over again in that same month.
Right, and a lot of folks like myself, when we go out, there's 3 or 4 restaurants we go to regularly.
Correct.
So going to the same place
Happens all the time.
happens all the time.
Especially in 30 days, you would think, oh, if it was only a week, it'll be one thing. But you have the whole month. A lot of people like to frequent, like you said, the same restaurant. So they become a Plus member for $10 a year, and they'll get that money back within a month. So the other 11 months is all profit for them.
So what is the market territory that you're in?
Currently, we're in Alachua County, a little bit in Duval, and a little bit in Marion County, but mostly Alachua. We were starting those markets, and then the pandemic hit, so we pulled back a little. So we still have a small presence in Duval and Marion, but it's mostly Alachua. And at the end of this year, we want to go back to those markets.
When COVID hit, a lot of the restaurants are doing mostly takeout.
Correct.
Could you use your coupons for takeout as well?
So that's a good question. So the answer is we actually didn't promote the app for a whole year. What we did is we started GCM Cares. And what that was is we started a GoFundMe. We raised $4,200, literally didn't take a penny. And then we bought food from restaurants at regular price, not only from the restaurants that were part of the GCM app, we call it a GCM family, but we also bought food from non-GCM restaurants. So we bought it and then we donated it to the firefighters, the police officers, first responders. So we did all the $4,200 that Gainesville donated. We took literally every penny and bought it. So not only did we not promote the app because we didn't think it was fair for the restaurants to take a discount when we thought they were going to go out of business. But no one knew what was going to happen. Middle of March, the pandemic hit, and we're like, what's going to happen? So our focus completely switched to how can we grow GCM to how can we help the restaurants not go out of business. So that's not only, we have emails that go out 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, that promote usually a deal. We stopped doing that. We promoted, such and such is doing carry-out, third-party deliveries, pickup. We never even once mentioned the app and how it can save you money. We told people where to go and how to get the food.
So when did you go back to your normal protocol?
I would say last year, 21, the beginning of when things started going back to quote-unquote normal, whatever that is now. Yeah, so we started probably in March is when we started going back, and then it started, but 21 was still a little bit weird because we didn't know what was going to happen still. There was not enough employees for the restaurants. They couldn't open back to full. So we started, I would say, the food, because we do a GCM food festival here at Celebration Point. So the one in November of 2021 started picking up a little, and then 2022 went like back to normal.
It's interesting because friends of mine who were in the restaurant business said that 2020 was their worst year in a long, long time.
Yes.
And 2021 was their best year ever.
Yeah, I believe it. They just didn't have enough employees.
Right. But however, what they did learn is that you can do a large percentage of your gross volume in the restaurant through takeout.
Yes.
And that changed the whole dynamic. I think it took some companies longer to make the transition to really promoting their takeout and getting their regular customers accustomed to takeout as an option.
No, I agree. It absolutely did. But then once they figured out, this could be something, that what happened then was they were running short on to-go boxes, to-go containers. They were running short on everything, and then the price went through the roof. So it was getting really expensive to do that as well. So 2021 it was a weird navigating those waters, because usually before you can almost get employees, not all the time, but it wasn't as hard as it was last year. So you have a city bus, you have several. We were going to do a city bus right before the pandemic. We were going to get one. Obviously, we couldn't do anything during 2020. The reason I bring this up is because of 2021, they didn't have enough drivers. So they couldn't sell any more buses because nobody could or wanted to work as much. So the same thing happened to the restaurants. So now we even have the abilities when we had a bus, we couldn't get a bus because they had already sold it to people like you, and then they had to give you the right
had the commitment.
commitment, so they couldn't keep selling them. And we just now got our bus. but it's 2022. So everything's just now catching up to what 2019 was.
So how many different restaurants are you engaged with?
A little over 100. Yes.
So what do you hear from those restaurant owners? How are they doing now as far as being back in business?
Yeah, I think right now the majority of them, their biggest thing, again, sounds like a broken record, is getting qualified people that want to work. Right now, like you said, the sales are doing well. They have, that's back to 2019. It's just getting enough people. Like we just did the food festival here in April. We had to supply help to over 20 restaurants because they wanted to be at the food fest, but they didn't have people to do it. So I had to hire people to quote unquote work the restaurant to actually give out the food because they just didn't have the manpower to do it. That's never been an issue before. So that's their only thing. They're trying to get more and more people to work.
Yeah, I know here at Spurrier's, they finally opened last August, but they had planned on opening earlier, but they couldn't
Correct.
get the quality servers, and they didn't want to. Everything here is first class, so they didn't
Yes.
want to open up with a less than first class team.
Correct.
And so now I think that's happening.
I remember Freddie saying that.
What are the long-term ramifications, you think, as far as people not as anxious to get out there and work?
All I've known my whole life is work. So I don't know if this is a trend. I would think that eventually we'll all have to go back to work, whether we want to or not. And I think for the most part, people do want to work. And they're just trying to figure out what a lot of people start as side hustles. And they're like, let me see if I can do that side hustle. And in some cases it will work, and in some cases it won't work. So I think a lot of those people that obviously that side hustle works, they're never going to come back. It's not just the restaurant industry, whatever industry. But the ones that try something and didn't work, I think there's good money to be made as a waiter, as a waitress, or working in the kitchen. I used to own a restaurant. So it's one of those things that you're always going to have a demand for food. People like to go out to eat. So I'm hoping that people slowly but surely come back to work because a lot of the people need to work.
I think that the gross revenues of restaurants overall in this community and other communities in 2022 is probably going to hit record levels.
I don't disagree. It's been, if you go to the Texas Roadhouse on a Friday, good luck getting a table. You're going to have to wait. Same thing here. A lot of restaurants are like that. Like I said, I work with just here in Celebration Point. Dave and Buster's, they're packed. With the games and everything. L House, thank God they're open till late because sometimes you go someplace and they're closed and they're open till 2 o'clock in the morning, midnight, depending on the day you go. But the same thing goes with Bolé. Bolé is one of my biggest accounts. They're all, I see the redemptions come through and it's great food, nukes, chicken salad, chick. So I agree with you. I think you can see by seeing the redemptions in the back end, I can see that things are picking up again.
I think the biggest grossing restaurant in Gainesville is Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
The one out on Archer Road, right?
There's a line wrapped every day.
Yeah. And they opened up, they built a brand new facility, 2 lanes, and everything is basically drive-through.
Yes.
And so I think the landscape in the restaurant industry is really dramatically changed because of the COVID epidemic.
Yes. No, I would agree.
So people are more willing to do takeout. People are more willing to do drive-through.
Yes.
The in dining experience is still great, and it's now becoming a little easier to get a table at certain restaurants.
Yes.
And that the restaurateurs that adapted are the ones that are doing the best right now.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Yeah, people always like to go out to eat. People look forward to that. There's a lot of things in life that we have to do as adults that we don't look forward to. Eating out is one of them that we do, right? You're married, your wife, you get home on a Friday night, your wife wants to go get something to eat, that kind of thing, right?
I just talked to her about 5 minutes ago. She said, we're going out for eat. We're
See?
going out to eat tonight. I said, well, that settles that. I
Yeah,
said, now we have
exactly.
to figure where. Okay, listen, we're going to take a quick break on Meldon Law and Friends, and we're going to be back with Ed Lavagnino. Lavagnino. I'm going to get this right. Okay.
I just go by Edward. That keeps it a lot easier.
I like, but I love the Italian language, so
Yeah.
I'm going to get it right.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to be back in 60 seconds on Law Talk, or I'm sorry, Meldon Law and Friends.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your
No,
fault.
it's not, no,
I
it's
am
not.
calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
This crazy lady here, this crazy lady, he might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder of Meldon Law, and I want to promote a few things we got going on. I mentioned earlier our Father's Day giveaway, a $250 gift card to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, along with a signed visor to Dad from Steve Spurrier. All you have to do is go on our Facebook page. It's Meldon Law Facebook, and you will be able to enter the contest. It's free. It's open to anybody. $250 will get you one heck of a nice dinner here at Spurrier's for the whole family. You can invite grandma and grandpa and cousins and everybody. So take advantage of it. Another thing going on, Law Talk Live, every Saturday at 10:30 on the Sky 97.3. We have a lively discussion of some legal issues, just as many non-legal issues, and Gator Sports is always a topic. Last night in Gainesville, we had our Scholar Athlete of the Year banquet, honoring all of our weekly Scholar athletes, and then we selected our Scholar Athletes of the Year. It was at the Hilton Hotel. Fabulous turnout, great winners. Both of our winners, one male and one female, get $1,100 in scholarship money, along with a big, beautiful glass trophy. And they're both going to the military academies. The male Scholar Athlete winner is going to West Point, and the female Scholar Athlete winner, she's going to the Air Force Academy.
Wow.
So we got these. And to get into West Point or Air Force Academy, those are tough. I mean, you got to be a good student. I think you have to be sponsored by a congressperson or a senator or somebody, and it's a big deal. And we like to honor our best and our brightest. Anyhow, I'm here with Edward from GCM. So what does GCM stand for again?
Yeah, it stands for gift certificates and more. And the more is vouchers and coupons. So the main thing that we do is the gift certificates.
So what makes GCM different from other, giveaway companies or
Sure.
whatever you want to call them?
Sure, that's a good question. So the main thing, like I said earlier, is the fact that, let's say you wanted to go to, say, Nukes. We have a $3 gift certificate to Nukes. It's not a traditional coupon. Coupons meaning you have to spend $10 to get $3 off or $2 off. But if you don't hit the $10 or the $15, you don't get the discount, right?
Or you see free appetizer
Right.
with this.
So-
So you go in and you spend
Yes.
$70 and they
Yes.
give you an appetizer that
Yes.
costs them $1.20. And
Right,
and
correct. So what I do is I say, you know what? If you want to go in, Jeffrey, all you're going to do is whatever you spend. You can spend $5, $10, $15. We're going to take $3 off your bill, regardless of what you buy. I don't make you buy a specific item or a soup or a pizza. It's totally up to you. We'll give you the freedom to choose what you want to choose, but we're still going to give you $3 off. That's what makes it a gift certificate, not a coupon.
Now,
Because
I
there's no
asked
minimum
you-
purchase.
Yeah, Edward, I asked you earlier.
Yeah.
What are you doing with takeouts? Does it apply to takeouts?
In
as
some
well?
cases, it does. In some cases, it don't. It totally depends up to the restaurant, and they'll tell you on the fine print. I would say it's like 80% non. The whole idea is supposed to be for you to go into the restaurant and visit the restaurant.
So they want to get.
They want to get people in the door. Foot traffic is what the app's all about. Having said that, some people do honor that. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would encourage them to do it one way or another, because
Yeah.
what the hell does it matter if you're
Yeah.
if you have a butt in the seat or
Yeah.
if you are spending money? And
Right.
actually, the overhead for takeout is a lot less than the
Right.
overhead for in-house dining.
Sure.
So that's an opportunity I think more restaurants should realize. What's it matter?
No, it all depends on the ownership's perspective. It really does. Like I said, it's probably, if I had to guess, 80-20. They dine in, the other 20. I know several that do take it for takeout, but some just, they prefer that you dine in,
Okay,
Yeah.
well, it's a good way to create brand loyalty, I
Correct,
think,
correct.
by dining in, because you get the experience and the ambiance, and you learn more about
Yeah.
the menu and the staff, and so it
Yes.
does create a greater opportunity.
Places like Big Mills, I think he takes it on takeout as well. We have Adams right next door to him. A lot of people do the takeout with Adams. So especially the one on 43rd and 53rd, the new one is Adams to go. He takes it. He said $2 lunch, $3 dinner. So there's several who do take that. And the idea behind that is, again, is like the app was created for branding purposes. So usually what people do is when they download the GCM app, they navigate through it to see where they're going to go eat. So they start navigating because it feeds you the information, no pun intended, closest to you. So if you work any place here close to Celebration Point or Butler Plaza or downtown, it tells you what's around you. So you'd be like, oh, I'm going to go here, or you know what, I haven't been here in a while. So it's also a branding opportunity. Even if you don't use the app at that restaurant, you still get to see their logo. And you know how that is. You're doing an incredible amount of marketing yourself because you always want to be seen, remembered. If I get into an accident, I know who to call, right? Meldon, because you got the billboards, you got the buses, you got television, you're everywhere on purpose. And that's great marketing. I do the same thing for the restaurants and the app. So it's one place where if you're a foodie, you download one app and you get to see literally 100 different restaurants. And if I'm a restaurant, I don't pay any money to be on my app. So you get to be seen, and even if people don't use it, they're still scrolled by your logo. So if they saw Bolé or Tasiki's, Cold Stone, you name it, they get to see it, and that's a branding opportunity that I just created for that restaurant. And the way that we monetize the app is we sell advertising. We're no different than a radio station. Radio is free, but if you want to have a commercial like you have to pay to be on the radio because you're going to reach their audience. So we advertise the app. So we monetize it through a membership. It's called freemium. It's free to download and it's free to use. Like I told you, one redemption per restaurant per month per person. But if you want to go a second time, you have to pay for the $1 a month or $10 a year membership. And we also monetize it with ads. And then one thing that we're introducing with the new app is that restaurants are going to be able to log into a back portal, and they're going to be able to see all the redemptions that they have redeemed that month. And on the back of that, we're going to sell advertising to businesses that want to sell to business owners. So that's a B2B platform. So for instance, if you want to reach Greg at the Texas Roadhouse, when he logs in the future, beginning in the fall, this will be available. He'll be able to see it. Like BMW already bought an ad because they're targeting the owners or the general managers. They don't want to target the regular person. So they're in Gainesville, they also own Toyota. So Toyota bought an ad on the actual app because those are the people who more than likely drive Toyotas. So what we do is we are a platform for advertisers to say, hey, we cater to foodies. Old, everybody that eats. If you go to the Texas Roadhouse, you have blacks and whites and yellow. Everybody eats there, right? Cowboys, country people.
They do a huge
They do
growth.
huge, yeah. So when you say who's the average audience for GCM, whoever goes to Bolé. So mostly women, Nukes and places like that, Chicken Salad Chick. So another one's a huge one is Four Rivers. We do a lot of redemptions with Four Rivers. BurgerFi, Grub, with Butler Plaza. We have a lot of restaurants in Butler Plaza as well. There's a Kilwins in Butler Plaza who does tremendous work as well. Then we have the World of Beer. So we cater to everyone, anyone that wants to go out to eat. We have 100 different restaurants. So when we get those eyeballs, we sell that because everything is data. I can tell how many times the app was open, how many impressions your ad got, how many clicks he got. And then you can track the clicks as well from your back end to make sure that everything is, the way that it should be. So we're a platform for restaurants to promote themselves for free. That's the honey that attracts the people. Once we have been downloaded over 60,000 times. Then we go say, hey, do you want to be on an app that has an audience, that people that have money? Because if you're going to go out to eat, you have money. You may not be wealthy or rich, but you're not poor. So we have an audience, then we actually monetize through advertising.
So how do people get your app?
All they have to do is go to the Google Play Store, the App Store, and then type in GCM for gift certificates and more, and it'll come right up. But I do want to say, I'm glad I'm doing this interview with you because we have a brand new app that actually comes out next week. That's going to be the new, are you familiar with UX and UI terminology for apps?
No, I'm
It's
not.
called user interface and the user experience. So we try to have a better experience with the app. And this app, because it's a brand new app, what I tell people is apps are like dogs. You know, it's a 7-year. A dog for every 1 year human is 7 years for a dog. Same thing with the digital world. If you have an app that's 2 years old, it's really 14 years old because technology goes that fast. In a restaurant, you can say you're brand new for a year. An app, you can't really say you're brand new after a year because you've been out for a year. The technology after that, whether it's location sensitivity, geofencing, there's so many things that change. You know, what people call this is a clean looking app. You know, all the user interface and user experience change all the time. So that's what we do. And this new app is being developed as we speak, and we already sent it to test flight. So it should be available in the store next week, and it's going to be a lot better for the members.
But for now,
Yes.
if you just go to the App Store,
Yes.
you put in GCM, do
Yep.
you have to put in anything else
No,
besides
just GCM. Yep, just
And
GCM.
it should come up whether
Yep.
you're Android or
Yep. Correct.
Apple or whatever.
We,
Okay.
we have it in the Google Play Store and the App Store, correct.
So, since you've been involved in the restaurant industry as well as serving restaurants, what are some of the key factors that make a restaurant either successful or go out of business?
Well, I guess at the end of the day is the quality of the food, right? The quality of the service. Because if you like the restaurant and they're a little bit slow, you're okay with it. And they have great service, but you don't like the food, you're not so okay with it. So in my opinion, it will be the food, and then followed by the service. If you can hit a happy medium, have really good food and really good service, you nailed it, right? In my opinion, the Roadhouse does that. Another thing you have to do is you have to be price conscious. If you're too expensive, very few people can afford you, and which is fine. There's a niche for everyone. But depending what you want to do is, you know, at the end of the day is the quality of the food, in my opinion, and then what price you're going to be, that you're going to give a lot of value for as little money as possible, but still make a profit. The restaurant industry in and of itself is not a very profitable industry. Less than 10% profit. If you spend $1 at a restaurant, a dime to 8 cents is a profit. People think it's like 20, 30%. It's really not. Food cost is usually between food cost, labor cost, and fixed cost. There goes 90% of your costs. So you have to be very careful how much you serve, because if you give away the food, you're going to go out of business, right? You have to charge a good price, serve a good quality, great service with a smile.
Yeah, I know Freddie Wiebe, who is the managing partner here for
Yes.
Spurrier's, told me that the number one reason that celebrity restaurants like Spurrier's, which
Right.
is named after a celebrity,
Gotcha.
right?
Yep.
They went out of business was because the owners were giving away food to their friends. And,
Yep.
you know, and
That
the
will kill you.
bartenders are giving away drinks, and
Yep.
pretty soon that 10% or 8% shrinks down to zero, and then it can start going the other way.
Yep. The bar is a little bit more profitable, but the food is less profitable. That's why a lot of people do have the bar, because they can make more money in the bar. When you buy 2 drinks, that's when they start making their money, even with soft drinks. But the food itself is not very profitable, but you're right. And I would argue it doesn't have to be a celebrity restaurant. Any restaurant that you don't see what's going out, the back door, the front door, without getting paid, you're going to go out of business.
Yeah, I think it's very important. And look, you're obviously very knowledgeable in the food industry, and I want to thank you for
Thank you for having
joining
me.
us
Yeah,
and
thank you,
sharing it. So everybody, get your phone out while you're either watching this or listening. We're on YouTube, Facebook, 37 different audio platforms, and go to your app store and put in GCM, okay, and you're going to be saving $300 or $500 this year if you use it wisely, right?
Yeah, correct.
So anyhow,
I have to go out to eat a lot. but
Edward,
yes.
thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you,
This
Jeffrey.
has really been fun, educational, and as soon as I finish the show today, I'm going to run out and download your app, because I'm sure I go to a lot of your
I'm
restaurants.
sure you do. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be back in 3 minutes on Meldon Law and Friends.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your
No, it's
fault.
not, no,
I
it's
am
not.
calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
This crazy lady here, this crazy lady, he might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky.
I was driving behind a lady, and very suddenly she moved out of the way. There was a log laying in the road, and when I hit my brakes, I went on top of the log. I had 280 discs. I just haven't been the same since. Jeffrey Meldon fought for me all the way. Him and his team really went there for me. Throughout the whole lawsuit, he made sure that my bills was paid. It was never no whenever I called him and asked him for something.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
We are here at the University of Florida, where Albert and Alberta are competing in the Gator penalty shootout. Albert is ready to stop the shot at all costs. What a disaster! Luckily, Meldon Law is the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. If you have suffered any injury, do not worry, because Meldon Law is going to help you with your recovery. Meldon Law doesn't back down until they reach their goal.
We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you. When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon. Listening to those commercials reminds me that we are the only official injury law firm partner of the Florida Gators, and very proud of it. We're here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill here in the podcast room. It's really cool. As you look around, we have all these people that are eating dinner around us, and Evan, Michelle, and I are just kind of sitting here like fish in a tank or something, right? Everybody's looking at us,
Yes.
but it's fun. So anyhow, Meldon Law and Friends is a show where we try to bring people from the community to talk about important things that they're doing, and today is no exception. Remember, Father's Day giveaway coming up. Go to our Facebook page, Meldon Law, and you can win a $250 gift certificate plus a personally signed visor from Steve Spurrier to Dad. And so come here to Spurrier's. You'll have great food, a great time. It'll be a big event, and you'll get your own personally signed visor. So join us. Meldon Law regularly has giveaways, and we are really excited to help promote Spurrier's and what they're doing for the community. Our second guest today is Michelle Pepin, and she started a group called Picking Up the Pieces. Welcome, Michelle. How are you?
Thank you. Good. How are you?
Good. I read the story of what happened, and it's tragic and very sad, but I do think for people to get context for what you're doing, I'd like you to tell a little bit about how you got to the point of starting this group, Picking Up the Pieces, and being on our show today.
Okay. Thank you for having me here. I have two children. Caitlin is my oldest. She's 31, and of course, Ian. They both dabbled in drugs. It's horrible. It started with pills. We moved from one place to another, changed their friends, and it was nonstop. Caitlin went off one way, Ian went off in another, different types of friends. Ian got into pills more than Caitlin did, met the wrong type of people, got into heroin, and it rocked our world. Nobody wants their child to be involved with drugs. Nobody wants people talking about their child. Ian was such a good kid, such a good sense of humor. Him and Caitlin were very close. They were 18 months apart, and Caitlin always looked out for Ian.
'Cause he was younger.
He was younger. They were actually 11 months apart. They were Irish twins. So she always looked out for him, and he didn't want to hurt her. So he told her a lot of lies. Different programs, he went into jail for petty crimes, shoplifting and things like this. Because
How
of the
old
drugs.
was he when that started?
That started for Ian about 17.
What was he like up until that time?
Good kid. He was a class clown, heart of gold. He would do anything for anybody. But he had low self-esteem. That's it started. You know, he was kind of tall, lanky, stood out. His nickname was Big Head. He grew into it eventually, but it's just funny things that you think. He just wanted to fit in. Caitlin, his sister, was more, she was bolder.
More self-confident.
Yeah, and Ian always wanted to be like that. With their friends being different, they went their separate ways for a little while. We really didn't know how bad it was until school time, with the teacher saying that he was not doing as well as he was. He was a good student. Both my kids were good students. We had to talk with him. You know, yes, I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing with the pills and everything like that. We got him some help. So we got him some help. He went away for a while, was doing really good.
In a residential treatment program?
Yes, that was out in Fort Lauderdale.
And did that help?
It helped temporarily. It was a temporary solution, we found out. He just couldn't sit still. He always had to be busy. He loved music, skateboarding, all different types of things. So they're good at hiding things. When people do drugs, they hide it. So we were kind of fooled for a while. Then it was brought to our attention again. And by that time, it was too late. He was involved in heavy stuff. Went to jail for 18 months. He did his time. He came out, looked good. He was doing really good for a couple months. In the meantime, he was talking to a girl he used to know, and they got involved in a relationship. She was older. We didn't approve of her at all. It's just something about her, and my daughter didn't approve of her either. And it was just chaotic. They were fighting all the time, and he didn't want to go back to that old lifestyle, and she was lying to him.
Was he working?
He was working. He was doing construction work, and he loved it. He was saving for a car. He was saving money. He was doing everything he should have been doing. So he had heard that she was using drugs, and he confronted her with it. And she lied to him. But he walked in on her one day, and she was using drugs. So he sat down with my husband and myself and said, I need to end this relationship, but I need to do it with you and Dad there. I don't want her getting upset. I just want to end it. He asked if she could spend the night at our house, and we didn't want her to. But he begged and begged. Finally, we gave in. And that night there was a little argument, but then everything was fine. I left the next day to go babysit my grandchildren, and my husband was home. And he got up to make a cup of coffee. And he walked by my son's room, and she was kicking my son. He was on the floor, and she was pouring water on him. And my husband ran in there grabbed my son and immediately starting doing CPR on him and mouth to mouth. Call 911. That time, right after he did that, he called me, told me I had to get home, and I said, why? He said, you just need to get home. And I knew by his voice, and I didn't expect this. We got home, and they wouldn't let me in the house. They wouldn't let me near my son. Got him in an ambulance, went to the hospital. I was sitting in the waiting room, and I was waiting, and time was going by so slow. There was another family there. There was a car accident, and they lost their son. And everybody went to that family. And I'm sitting there by myself, waiting for my husband to come in. And finally, a nurse said, has anybody spoken to you? And I said, no, I'm waiting. Can you tell me what's going on with my son? And she said, they didn't tell you? He's dead. Just as bold and cold as that. After that, it's kind of a blur because the last thing I remember is just screaming that my husband walking in. So from that moment, it was a wake up. From that moment, I realized, number one, in the emergency room, the treatment people get because of the drugs, the stigma that's attached to it. But then I was frustrated because when the police came to my house, there was drugs all in my son's room. There was cans of computer spray. She was huffing it. And my son never did that. My son's autopsy report stated he died from fentanyl, carfentanil, methamphetamine, and Xanax. I found out after his death that she had a felony for methamphetamine, trafficking methamphetamine, and she had a prescription for Xanax. It was very odd with my son's death. They didn't take any evidence or anything like that. So I got very upset about that, and I had so much anger in me, but then I stopped and I thought, Ian wouldn't want me to be like this. I have to take my anger and do something with it. So it turned into a positive. I went back, and I just sat in the emergency room one day, and I just watched people coming in, people that were doing drugs, the way they were treated. And I was just sitting there taking notes, just watching everything going around me. And it bothered me that human beings were treated like that. So I said, okay, I have to do something about this. So that's where it all started.
And tell us what were some of the steps that you decided to take?
I took classes. I just went into meetings, AA meetings, NA meetings, sat there and listened to stories, and I cried because a lot of these people that were there, their story is tragic. It could happen to anybody. A lot of the kids that were there, their parents used tough love on them, threw them out of the house. And to this day, I tell parents, when you do that, you're cutting yourself off from your child. You're going to get a knock on the door. You're going to get a phone call. Don't do that to your child. You don't have to enable them, but be there for them. Just don't.
So what are some strategies that you would have for parents that are dealing with kids that are, into drugs and that they want to be, they want to change their behavior, but yet they don't want to be an enabler?
Stop giving them cash. Don't give them cash. Don't let them use your car. You give them a ride somewhere. You ask questions. Go in their room. If they're living with you, that's your house. That's your room that they're living in. You have that right. You'd be surprised at the things that are coming out that kids are using to get high. It's starting very young. Right now, we're going through the pills, the pressed pills. And it only takes one pill. People think they're getting something they're not. We have fentanyl in everything on our street. Marion County, Alachua County, everywhere in Florida is fentanyl. People don't realize how dangerous it is.
Yeah, very. I think there's a number of famous artists that died from fentanyl. I think Prince and I think Tom Petty had fentanyl, and it's a dangerous drug that sometimes used in a hospital setting. properly, but
Right.
certainly not for home use.
No, and the way it's being used, when you're pressing the pills, the amount of, every pill is different. There's a different amount of fentanyl in every pill because it's just getting mixed. They're not even mixing it the right way. They shouldn't be mixing it, put it that way. It's a war. We have a war on our street.
So, so if you're a parent and you see behavior, what are some concrete things that you would suggest doing to actually improve or change the behavior of your kid?
Sit down with your child and talk to them. See what's going on in their life. There's a lot of depression. Kids are suicidal. There's a lot of bullying in schools. Sit down and see what's going on with them.
What happens if the child is not willing to communicate openly about what's going on?
Well, I mean, you as a parent have a choice. You can bring them somewhere to talk to somebody. If they don't want to talk to you, they can go somewhere and talk. Bring them to a teen group, somewhere where they let it out. I have people, I give my phone number out all the time, and I tell people, I don't care what time it is, call me. I answer my phone. Even with your teenagers, they might not talk to you, but they'll talk to me. And it's true. Kids feel comfortable talking to a total stranger before they would talk to their
I know, it's like that on a airplane sometimes. Listen, we're going to take a quick 1-minute break. I'm here with Michelle Pepin from Picking Up the Pieces, a very tearful but important story that we're hearing today. And we're going to be back in 60 seconds on Meldon Law and Friends.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your
No,
fault.
it's not, no,
I
it's
am
not.
calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
This crazy lady here, this crazy lady, he might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder of Meldon Law, and we are a statewide law firm with offices in Gainesville, Ocala, Lake City, and Fort Lauderdale. Our primary practice is personal injury, folks that have been seriously injured. We help them put their lives back together. Many times it affects people, and it's very important work that we do. So if anybody needs help after a serious accident, please give us a call or go to our website, meldonlaw.com, or you can give us a call at 352-373-8000. We're here today with Michelle Pepin, who started a group called Picking Up the Pieces after the tragic loss of her son, Ian, and we were talking about some of the resources in the community that parents that are struggling with children that are having serious drug problems can go to. Michelle, you were saying before we went to break that there are resources in the community available. I know last week we had the folks from the Meridian Behavioral Center here.
Meridian is amazing. I send people to Meridian. Good programs, good people. We have Beacon Point in Ocala. We have SMA. We have Group Recover. We have so many good groups, people that are supportive. If there's a need, if you feel that you have a need for your child or somebody in your family, please seek it out.
So if your child, and a child can be, 25 years old or 35 years old, it's still your child, right?
Exactly.
If you see some really self-destructive behavior, but the child is not willing to communicate or acknowledge any problem, what can a parent do as far as reaching out to professionals to get some strategies?
Well, we have 211. You can dial that. We have so many groups you can reach out to in the community. We have a Recovery Fest coming up September 10th on a Saturday from 10 to 2 at Tuscaloosa Park. We have all kinds of agencies there. If parents would like to come out there, anybody.
So this is in Ocala, in Marion County.
Yes.
For those of you that are watching or listening, Tuscaloosa Park's a very cool place, right in the heart of old Ocala.
Yes.
And it's, I've been there. We actually did some TV commercials set there right on the water there.
It's a good place to do it.
Yeah, we did. But they told me I had to do it at daybreak, right? So I had to get up at 5:30 in the morning so I could be there when the ducks fly off the water, because that looked kind of cool, right?
Yes.
That was. I get up early, but not 5:30. So anyhow, but the important point that Michelle's bringing out is, there are resources available. There's strategies as parents. Sometimes we may not have all of the tool in the toolbox to deal with the problem.
Exactly.
And that's where reaching out to other agencies who are used to dealing with this on a regular basis can be very helpful.
Absolutely. I have a website. It's www.pickingupthepieces.us. You could go on there. I have information. You could call me. My phone number's on there. I answer my phone all the time. If you have any questions, I can direct you where you need
What's
to
your
go.
phone number?
It's 352-816-3793. Please call me. I'll be happy to forward you any information I have, but I'll be more than happy to help you, go in the right direction.
So you know a lot of the resources in Marion County and some of them in Alachua County. I know.
Yes.
I know that Meridian is opening up a new office in Marion County soon.
Yes, we're excited.
So that's going to be pretty cool.
Yes.
And look, it's very, very common that kids get involved with drugs, and sometimes they get in over their heads.
Listen, they're not bad kids. Addiction is a disease. It's a mental health disease. It's, first time, absolutely, it's a choice. But after that, your brain gets rewired and your body craves this. You're in a panic because you don't want to feel that way. And the only thing you're doing is feeding the beast. If you're doing that, you need help.
And you can't do it on your own all
No,
the time.
not at all. You need support. There's support groups. We have groups at our office. We're starting new groups for teens. I love people. I love helping teenagers, adults, whatever. I don't want any more deaths. I've seen too many. A whole generation we've lost because of this. It's not getting any better. We're getting other things on the street called ISO, and it's worse than fentanyl. It's 10 times worse than fentanyl. And it's already starting to creep its way in from Pasco County, and it's not a good thing.
So what's your perspective as far as, talking to young people who are involved with drugs, as far as, what's the message you can send to them as far as how to change their lives in a better way?
Love yourself. Don't listen to anybody. Don't let anybody talk you into anything. You don't need to be better. If somebody's bothering you, trying to talk you into doing drugs, go to your parent, go to a school, go to your friend. Go to a good friend and talk to them. You don't need somebody putting you in the wrong directions. If you have any questions, call somebody. You can ask questions. Questions are good. It messes up your life. There are people that are older that have lost a whole lifetime because of drugs. Don't do it. And I know it sounds so cliche, but you're better than that.
Now, I've read where you even suggest if somebody's, addicted to drugs, alcohol, whatever, that there are ways to sometimes, rather than just go cold turkey, to wean yourself off. You want to talk a little bit about that perspective?
Okay, there's some people that don't want to come off their drugs. There's programs. There's syringe exchange programs in place. Syringe exchange programs are legal in Florida. It's according to counties, whether they want to accept it or not. It's a preventative. It weans people off of drugs. It gives them a purpose without stopping cold turkey. There's other things that they can do. There's MAT programs, which is methadone, Suboxone. It's a medication they can take to stop the cravings. Like I said, it's a disease and it's a beast. Nobody wants to feel that way. It's having the flu like 10 times over. It's not a good feeling. Nobody wants to feel that way. Syringe exchange programs, I am for. It's not legal in our county, but I do a syringe exchange program, and I've had people go into recovery from it. I've seen them over a 4-month period go from using to going into recovery. It can be done, and it's a form of harm reduction. People need to listen about the programs. The judgment, that's what's stopping people from listening, is the judgment. The judgment and the stigma from people using drugs, and that has to stop. It's killing our kids.
So in Alachua County, do you know if they have a syringe exchange program?
I go to so many meetings, I can't tell you. I believe that there's a syringe exchange program in Alachua County.
Okay.
I believe there is.
Well, I think the important message to get out is when you see something going on with your child, deal with it.
Yes, be a parent.
Be a parent. It's not easy. It's heartbreaking, but the alternative is a lot worse.
Exactly.
And that, what you want to do is to never give up. It's your child, and your child's going to frustrate you. Your child's going to do things that you don't believe are good behavior, and we've all dealt with that in one way or another. The issue with hard drugs is that it can wind up killing your child, and you don't have any second chances after that.
And if you see something odd, if you see your child hanging around with a different type of friend, start asking questions.
So what are some other resources like school, or if your kid's not in school, just go to the community resources?
Well, we do have a recovery high school.
In Ocala?
It's not in Ocala. It's in Jacksonville.
But it's open to
It's
people
open
from
to
all
teens.
over.
It's such a good program. Anna Rice, she's amazing.
So where they take in kids that are having serious problems, and
Yes.
they spend time there, and they're learning along with learning scholastically as well as learning about life, good behavior.
Exactly. Learning about their bodies, learning about their mental health. And that's what it's about. These kids, they have to understand what's going on. Their bodies are changing, their brains are all over the place. And kids need an outlet, So I think if we have more schools like this, it would help so much. Kids with drugs are starting at a very young age. I've dealt with kids that are at least 13, and it's not just smoking pot. These are methamphetamine. They're using methamphetamine. No child should be using methamphetamine, let alone 13 years old. It's a scary world out there right now with all these drugs. It's not the way it used to be. I mean, if you were doing drugs and you were doing cocaine, you were getting cocaine. Now you're not getting it. You're getting fentanyl.
Well, I've been talking with Michelle Pepin with a group called Picking Up the Pieces, and I think this is a poignant message that all of us should be aware of, and that anybody that's been a parent, I think, can sympathize with what Michelle has gone through. And I think our message today is there's hope, there's things that can be done, and take action.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show with us, Michelle. And we're going to be back next week on Meldon Law and Friends.